Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foul Ball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing great. I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you so much. Hi, it's Monday. So it's time for MF for Mondays, where I talk at a webcam with a microphone and communicate with you wonderful people. Hope you're all doing well. I'm okay. This is like morning for me right now because my sleep schedule has just shifted. I basically go to bed at like 4 or 5 in the morning and then sleep through what's the real morning. And so by midday, that's like my 8 a.m. It's throwing me off. I don't know how I like it. I mean, I'm kind of productive. Like this vampire life is, I don't know. I don't know if it suits me, but it is what it is. I'm here. I'm ready to talk some stuff. Glad to see that you guys are here. Just another red shirt. Hail. Hello, my good man. Good to see you. Just another red shirt. Wonderful to see you. Snortopupus Cuba. Wonderful. And I guess, Sentient Dildo. Buzz, buzz, buzz. What's up, brother? Good to see you, Sentient Dildo. Hey, Lord Thoth. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Still trying to get Lord Thoth to do the Altered Carbon streams with me. Our schedules have not lined up, but I still intend on doing it. I'm pretty deep into the book, so I feel like I can start the show now, start covering episodes, and I will. And if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. I'm trying to get Lord Thoth. If not, maybe he can just drop in when he can, but that stream is definitely coming up. The Nerdporeal Lifeform. Hello, the Nerdporeal Lifeform. Wonderful to see you. APM. Hello, my good sir. How are you? How are you? All the way from across the pond, APM joins us. And yeah. So I think you guys know the big story, the big news, because that's what everyone is talking about on my subscription feed. So I imagine you've heard about it too. Apparently, Lucasfilm and Disney and their infinite wisdom made another attempt to retcon more of the bullshit from the sequel trilogy. And I don't really comment on most of this stuff because who cares? Who cares what they put in the comic books? The comic books no one reads. I mean, it really is. It's pathetic. It's pathetic how hard they just keep scrambling. Like, that couldn't have been more of a failure. And they're still trying to be like, no, we meant it. This is exactly what we meant. This was the plan all along. It's like, I think back on it and I'm appalled at how absurd it is. Like, you had Rey, your heroine, for all her qualities, I guess, kisses Kylo at the end of the movie. It's like when you remember that, you're like, what? That did happen. He was the genocidal maniac. He's responsible for billions of deaths. And she kisses him? It's like, you can't believe it really happened like that. I'm fairly certain we're either in a simulation or in an alternate reality because this can't be real life. This can't be real life. So as absurd and trash as that whole sequel trilogy is, instead of like moving on and having a mea culpa with the audience and trying to, get back in our good graces, they double down. And they're like, this is what we meant. Nope. In fact, not only did we mean it, but Snoke was a clone of Skywalker. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like if Disney was a person, you'd be like, dude, listen, I know you mean well and everything here, but like, you need help. You just keep lying and then making up lies to cover your lies. You have a problem. You need to go see somebody because mentally you're all fucked up. This is such a fucking mess. Hey, Brightest Day. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you, sir. All right. Let's read this article. It's absurd postulation by this pathetic company. All right. Disney, the Nerdportal Lifeform says Disney is not a person. It is an evil, incorporeal entity, not very nerdporeal. True. I concur with that assessment, my friend. I concur. All right. So this is coming from Batting in the Comics, which is basically the only news outlet I can go to without having my stomach turn itself into knots. It's the only outlet I trust. It's the only outlet I'm like, okay, at least I'm going to get some information here that isn't coming from a lens that I put that really delicately. Just a different point of view. All right. New Darth Vader comic continues the destruction of Star Wars with dumb reveal about Luke Skywalker or Anakin's severed hand. The latest Darth Vader comic published by Marvel Comics and written by Greg Pak with art by... What the fuck? I just heard something like fall in the other room. I don't know what that was about. Hope that wasn't anything serious. Anyway, with art by Raffaele Inco, continues to affirm that Luke, Marvel, and they have absolutely no clue what they're doing with Star Wars. Yeah, I would that's accurate. In Darth Vader number 11, the book begins with Vader attempting to challenge Emperor Palpatine, but he is quickly defeated when the Emperor uses the Force to have some kind of a giant squid creature choke itself with its tentacles. Okay, from there, Vader journeys into the depths of the temple on Exegol, where he walks past what appear to be the beginning stages of Snoke clones. Not only does he pass these Snoke clones, but he also walks past a severed right hand that the Emperor appears to describe as the scalpel of creation. Scalpel of creation. I use it to make all of these things. I can use it to make anything. Oh, hey, Jake D. Sending me a super sticker. Thank you so much, my friend. Good to see you. It's a phallic unicorn. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Sentient Dildo back appreciates the sentiment. Snorted Poopus Q Burr says, maybe if you pile shit on the shit, the first pile of shit won't smell. Yeah, I think that's what they're trying. I think that's what they're going for here. And it sure does stink, huh? It's unclear who this hand belongs to. It's possible it could be Luke Skywalker's hand that Vader severed in his fight against Luke in the Empire Strikes Back. Or it could be Anakin's own hand that was severed along with much of his arm in the fight against Count Dooku at the end of Attack of the Clones. Yes, I don't know about that one. I would say it's most likely Luke's. I mean, who like I'm going to try to follow the logical continuity of this bullshit. Like, look at the hand. It's in pretty good shape, right? Like, it doesn't look rotted or smashed up. Okay, so in Empire, his hand gets cut off and it falls down the shaft. Okay, so at best, it's crushed just from the gravity, right? But then, what, did Vader send someone down immediately to retrieve it? Like, just go make sure we get that hand. Might come in handy, useful. Might come in handy. Might be useful later on down the road. Go get that hand, preserve it, and then in, I don't know, 40 years, it'll come. We'll use it to start an army of clones. What is this storyline? Give it up, Disney. Give it up. Move the fuck on. Honestly, what do you think will happen from this? What do you think could possibly be the best outcome? We're like, oh, yeah. No, that's good. I like that. That makes sense. So Snoke, although looking nothing like Anakin or Luke, was a Skywalker. He's Luke. I'm not going with the farce that it might be Anakin. They don't mean it to be Anakin. They mean it to be fucking Luke. So I'm saying it's Luke. It doesn't look like Luke. It can't be Luke. Shut the fuck up. It's not. So stupid. Sentient Dildo hates hands. They are your number one competition, I would say, right? I mean, if you're a sentient vibrator, then hands really would be the only other. That's the next thing closest to what you do. So I understand that. Although someone would know if you're sentient, then no one needs to operate you. Yeah, that's a good point. Snorted Poopus Q Burst says maintenance workers found it clogging an air filter. Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess they held on to it for safekeeping, just in case some new evil dictator after the fall of the empire. Like, it is so creatively bankrupt, this entire endeavor. Like, they're just like, oh, well, people like the empire, so we'll just make a new empire that was like building off by itself outside of the eyes of the Republic. And then they have enough resources to create another Death Star. And it's just so lazy and boring and like predictable. I know I'm rehashing kind of an old topic, but it's just, you see how empty the entire pursuit was. And now, like a kid caught in a lie, just making up new like strands of a lie to try to justify the original lie. Give it up. You're exposed. You are exposed. It was a terrible, thoughtless, clumsy, insulting, empty, cash grabby pursuit of a franchise. You fucked up worse than it could possibly, anyone could have fucked that up if they fucking tried. If you went the producer's route and tried to make it as bad as possible, it still couldn't have been as bad as having Rey kiss Kylo at the end like that was supposed to happen. I defy you to be able to make anything so shitty as this pile of crap with the effort. And now, instead of being like, yeah, we fucked up, yeah, let's move on, you double down. And you doubled down once, like all the time. The comics, like every few months, I hear a story about the comics trying to retcon some dumb shit that came out of these sequel trilogies. It's just like, give it up, motherfucker. Give it up. Take all this energy of trying to justify your garbage bullshit and put it into making The Mandalorian good. Just focus all your energy, all your creative, well, you don't have any creative ability, but just take the resources that you're spending on all this shit, give it to someone with integrity, and make The Mandalorian good. And then maybe, just fucking maybe, you might gain some fans back. No guarantee, because you probably lost me for life. You lost a lot of people for life, and for very good reason. So stop trying to clean up your fucking mess. Just tabula rasa. All right? Clean that slate. Start fresh. Fucking retards. All right. Marvel Comics and Lucasfilm previously toyed with the idea that Palpatine created Anakin Skywalker in Charles. Oh, God. Once again, it's another retcon. Which, you know, to their credit, George Lucas making that terrible decision that Anakin was like a Force baby or something. Like he's Jesus. It's like, what the fuck? Oh, there was no father. I carried him. I gave birth to him. Ugh, what are you doing, George? What are you doing? I mean, I know we all look more fondly on the prequel trilogy, you know, in contrast to the sequel trilogy, but let's be honest, the prequel trilogy's got a fuck lot of problems. I mean, if you like it, I'm glad, I'm happy for you. I don't know how you can. I think it's stupid. I think it's like he contradicted so much of what he did in that. I don't know, whatever. So they're exploiting that. Where shmee. I got a little shmee on my face. Let me get the shmee off. Where Shmi says, you know, that she had a baby and there was no father. So they're leaving that as, oh, maybe it was Palpatine all along. Really? Talk about playing the long game. Like he conceives the child with the Force all the way on Tatooine, waits for this kid who grew up in slavery to be coincidentally liberated by Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, then further waits while they train him in the Jedi arts, and then he tries to convince him to join him. That's a bit of a fucking gamble. It's a bit of a gamble. I don't know if that would be the play that I would make if I could create life and I'm Palpatine. Why wouldn't I just keep her captive? Make her, you know, raise the kid, and then just make him a Dark Jedi from the start. No, I'm going to play this really complicated, convoluted, and logically consistent, that is. Oh, my heavens. Oh, my heavens. Vigilante Williamson, hello, my good man. Good to see you. There is no father is the same as saying, I don't know who it is. Yeah, maybe Shmi was just a hoe. Maybe she just didn't want to admit that she throws it around. She honestly just didn't know. It was like, yeah, no, there was no father. It was like a miracle, I think. Yeah, that's what it was. It's definitely what it was. Fucking Watto's looking at her like, shh, don't. Just another red shirt says, I've got to hand it to him. They're adding insult to injury. Yeah. I mean, it's appalling. It's like it's pretty far after the fact too. It's not like this is coming out in conjunction with that pile of shit, final film. Like it's like years later, they're still trying. It's like, give it up, motherfuckers. Give it up. Who do you think you're going to attract with this? Is this purely just to get clicks and people talking about it like us? Because if it is, bravo, we took the fucking bait. If you honestly think that this is like story development, you are in the wrong fucking business. You are in the wrong business. Get another job. Go be a banker or something. It's fucking terrible. Snorted Pooper says thumbs down. I hope you don't mean my stream, my good man. I hope that you are thumbs upping my stream. I hope you all are. Please do that. And if you know anyone who you think would like this, please share it. Please share it, because despite my best efforts, this channel is stagnant and it breaks my heart. So if you guys know anybody who might like my rants, please let them know all about me. Please. Vigilante Williams says, that's always been my headcanon, that she's a thought. Shmee's a hoe. Shmee. What a name. Shmee. Ugh, that's not a name. That's a Shmee. It's not a. It's awful. Sentient Dildo, being very woke and progressive, says he for one celebrates Shmee's sexual liberation. You know what? That's good. That's very progressive of you. It's very very male feminist of you. Very dildo feminist of you. I guess you'd have to be a feminist. Although I don't know. I'm sure there's men out there who use their dildos, right? I bet that's probably where your specialty is. I bet that's where you really shine. You really use all your abilities. You're like, it's not work if you love it. That 70s rock says, so Palpatine literally threw a fuck into her. Yeah, he like force came. He force came into Shmee. Does he do that all the time? Like, would he just like impregnate random women just because he could? Bah, 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 just like shooting his cum. It's just all these Palpatines all over the place because he can force cum. What are you people doing? This is Star Wars? Like, what is going on? It's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Rio Praj asked, do I write scripts? I have. Yes, I have. I have a TV show that me and a friend developed. We have a really tight pilot. It's really good. APM was asking about it. I have to send it to you, buddy. It's good. I'm proud of it. Science fiction, artificial intelligence thing. Pretty big in scale, but it's good. I think it's fun. And I have written, yeah. I mean, not a crazy amount. I wouldn't say it's my number one craft, but yeah, I write. Vigilante Williams says he didn't have to force anything. She was giving it up. I'm thinking of like Shmee like calling Palpatine. He's like, oh God, he's got to screen her calls. Like this chick won't leave me alone. I give her one fucking, she's on my dick. God, the Shmee. Palpatine's just like, yeah, no, I had fun too. Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on with the Empire. Yeah, I'm busy. You know how it is, kind of running a government. Nah, yeah. Oh, I gotta go. I got a meeting. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Girl's thirsty. It's right as Day says, a Brie in the sheets is me in the sheets. That's a lot of sounds. That's funny. That's funny. All right, back to this stupid article. In that book, Vader enters into a Force vision on Mustafar, where he sees the Emperor using the Force to impregnate Shmi. Shut the fuck up. What is going on? The Force was like this kind of mystical energy field that's kind of like a parable for spirituality. And you know, you could kind of manipulate it to make like sounds. If you're really dark, you could, you know, choke with it. But it was more like an essence, a little, you know, kind of having the elements and the energies of the universe on your side. Now you can force impregnate someone. What the fuck are you talking about? Why would that ever be a thing? Ugh. But you know what? The thing is, as much as I hate them for doing it, not that I hate them, it's just like laughable idiots. George Lucas left the plot hole. What are you going to do? Shmi, that hoe, saying that there was no father. It's like, all right, well now, like, who cares? Why? There's so many things in prequels that they feel they need to establish that no one really needs an answer to. We just accepted it. You don't need to explain every little thing. I don't need to know who Anakin's father is. He could have left. She's a slave. I mean, she could have just been draped. I don't know. Who cares? Wasn't about that. I didn't even think about it. Whatever. However, Lucasfilm Story Group member Matt Martin claimed that this was not the implication of the book. Oh, okay. He wrote on Twitter back in 2019, "It's part of my job to ensure the stories are aligned with the overall vision of Star Wars." Oh, you're crushing it, Matt. You're fucking nailing it. That's what Lucas was thinking in the 70s, that one day Palpatine would force fuck the mother of Anakin Skywalker. That's exactly the vision of Star Wars, you phony piece of shit. Ugh. Douche. It's part of my job to ensure that the stories are aligned with the overall vision of Star Wars. If the intention was to make a direct connection between Palps, oh, I hate this guy, Palps, shut up, douchebag, and Anakin's birth, I would have it removed. Oh, he would have it removed. Well, boy, oh boy, aren't you Mr. Cannon? Eat a dick. Eat a dick. That 70s rock fan. At this moment, I'm trying to force impregnate Gina Carano. Might have to wait for a while to find out if it worked. She's too powerful for you, dude. She would force kick the shit out of you. Don't mess with Gina. Don't mess with Gina. Sentient Dildo says the Virgin Mary was force fucked. Whoa. Yeah, it's just unnecessary to bring anything like that in. It's just like, all right, what are we doing? What are we doing? What is this? What do we like? How does that help? And Anakin's definitely not Jesus. Like, what are you doing? What is this? Why would you introduce something like that? And now look what they did. You left that hole, and this is how they exploited it. They exploited that hole, just like Sentient Dildo. The Nerporial Life Form. Matt Martin earlier said that none of this matters, and this is all make-believe, and you can believe anything you want as canon. What a retard. Really? Oh, so nothing matters at all? Is that like how you pitch story? Like, is that how you walk in? You're like, you know what I thought would be an interesting subplot? I thought Kylo Ren could leave the First Order and he could get a construction job. And we'll follow him around. I mean, nothing matters. It's all just whatever. Shut up, shithead. That's such bullshit. Whenever they say stuff like that, what they mean is, I'm right. My agenda matters, and us contradicting it is not a valid criticism because we're going to do it. And it is what it is. Like, I know you don't believe that. I know you don't believe nothing matters. I know you just don't have any integrity. You don't have any integrity. So you're using that as an excuse to not have to have any. You shithead. Jizz bucket. Nerporial says Ryan Cannell reported this a few months back. He is good, man. He is on their trail. He will not let anything go. I love it. I love it. Nope. Rio Praj says people with just enough control of the company plus Twitter equals letting us know very fast why their products are shit. I just couldn't imagine that. I just can't imagine having that job, that platform, and then just like they just tell fan after fan why they're wrong. It's because I was listening to this. I think it was on the Inquisition, and it was Anita? No, who's the one who's making Ms. Marvel, the like Pakistani, disabled superhero or whatever, and they're talking about, everyone can identify with her and blah, blah, blah. Like the reason they believe this is because of the echo chambers that they foster. And I know this isn't news, but you have to really understand, like this is to them, this is the way people will see it. People will like these things because they just sit there like bouncing it off each other. They just agree with one another. They all think they have the same point of view. They assume other people out there have this ridiculous point of view. And any fans who don't agree, well, they're toxic and they're in the past and they don't matter. Like the people will get it when we put it out there because they're completely out of touch because they force themselves into these situations by excluding anyone who doesn't think exactly like them. And so that like they're genuinely surprised when this shit doesn't work out. Because they have no context. They're completely out of touch. They couldn't be more out of touch. Oh, it's so funny. It's so much fun to watch them just collapse. It sucks that they're doing it on the backs of the things we love, but it is fun to watch them lose. Dopes. Jock Nerdy asks, so if Palpatine Force impregnated her, does that make Rey and Kylo kissing cousins? Oh, yeah, good point. They're related now. Or is Rey actually a Skywalker? What the fuck is going on, lol? Yeah. Like, it's such a twisted knot of contradiction and story, and it's a mess. It's like, give it up. What do you stand to gain by sticking by this shit? What do you think? People suddenly go back and enjoy the Rise of Skywalker? You dead fucking brain dead idiots. Why would that? We don't like it. It's bad. Even if this was any kind of a logical continuity, even if this did make any kind of sense, which it fucking doesn't, but even if it did, what do you think, that magically fixes all the other problems? All the terrible decision making you did with this, where the romance that was a big part of driving the original trilogy turned out to not only not work out as they were estranged, and they actually created the next villain. So basically their romance was responsible for billions of deaths. You think we're going to like, oh, well, it makes sense because Snoke is a clone of Luke. Suddenly we'll just be like, oh, yeah, now it's all fine. Now it makes sense. Fuck off. You took something that we love. You bastardized it. You shoved it down our throats. You attacked us for not liking it. Do you understand there is no winning? You're never getting us back. It is fucking over. You blew it. And the more you defend it, the more you stand by it, the more entrenched we are going to be against you. There is no way you're ever going to get this over on us. It's never going to fucking happen. We've forgotten more about this franchise than you will ever know. Back off. Back to the article. Yes, fool. Charles Soule, who penned the script for Darth Vader number 25, I'd love to hang out with a guy as interesting as him, also stated, I am in fact the writer. Ooh, he's in fact the writer, guys. Everyone just, shh, the writer's speaking. The writer is speaking. I am in fact the writer. Matt and I work closely on this series, and this point in particular. Oh, pure genius! The muse really spoke to you. Inspiration. I hate explaining stuff. Oh, Oh, he hates explaining stuff in his work. Oh, sorry. Sorry, we want to weigh in on this shit. I hate explaining stuff in my work in too much detail. But you need to understand the scenario happening here. The dark side is not a reliable narrator. Oh, it's not a reliable narrator. That's why this is stupid and convoluted and ugly and broken and destroys everything that came before it, because the dark side's not a reliable narrator. Oh, is that what you're going with, you fucking hack? Is that your out? It's not a reliable narrator. The gall of these people, the absolute gall. Oh, it's dramatic interpretation. Ooh, you're throwing so much at me, writer guy. My puny fan brain can barely handle it. Shut up, you dick. Shut the fuck up. Ugh. Good golly gosh. It's not just the dark side who's an unreliable narrator. Matt Martin is as well. Ha! Get him, Trent. If you remember, Martin is the same Lucasfilm Story Group member who claims canon is all fake anyway. Yeah, nothing matters. Why even buy this shit? Good call, Matt. Good call, idiot. Back in May 2020, perfect timing, by the way, height of the pandemic. Please fuck with the fandom more. He tweeted, so to summarize, there's a reason we need to internally know what is and isn't canon, so we can keep our line of official storytelling as aligned and possible, but that doesn't mean fans can't individually pick and choose what they accept as true. What? What are you talking about? How is that enjoyable? And what kind of a mental illness way of looking at the world is that? I get to pick and choose what's real? I'm pretty sure that's called delusion, bro. I don't think you get to pick and choose what is true and part of the story and just make up your own story. If I was going to make up my own story, I would. I would fucking write my own story. I'm asking you to write the story, you jerk off. What are you talking about? Ugh. He added, it's all fake anyway, so you can choose to accept whatever you want as part of the story. That is the most ridiculous take. How are you a professional writer? Someone get rid of this guy. Actually, you keep working, Matt. You keep working, buddy. Your literary contributions will stand next to Dickens, bro. You are a genius. You are a fucking genius. And that seems to be what Lucasfilm, Marvel Comics, and Disney have embraced. None of the stories matter because they see them as fake. No, they don't care. They don't care. They have no passion. They have no love for these things. They're not interested in it. It is a vehicle. It is a vehicle. This is not storytelling. These are not misguided creative decisions like, oh, that didn't work. I guess we'll try something different next time. These are vehicles for agenda. That is all they are. That is it. Anything, any other interpretation, you are being naive. You are being naive. It is. It's not a misstep. It's not a mistake. It's not like they are trying so hard to validate this because they think they need this out there for whatever reasons. Interpret all you want. I have my thoughts. I have my theories, but the fact is this is not storytelling error. This is agenda. This is political agenda, and that is all it is. So them trying to justify it and come up with any different myriad of reasons why, oh, actually it worked as a story. Well, no, it didn't work as a story, but nothing matters, so it doesn't matter. You can pick whatever you want. All they're doing is justifying their crap work because what's more important is the agenda. That is way above the storytelling, your fandom, the things you love, logical continuity, storytelling integrity. None of that matters. What matters is the fucking agenda, the vehicle for their talking points. And that's it. That is it. That is the entirety of why this is happening. I'm getting a connectivity issue. I'm so fucking sick of the shitty Wi-Fi right now. It's driving me crazy. This is so unfair. Spending enough money, this should fucking work. Tech's supposed to come out. not working. I'm sorry for the roboting, if it is doing such, which I imagine it is. Snorter Poopa says, sorry, I can't handle trying to be rational. I'm going back to random babbling. Yeah. Any kind of scrambling. And the thing is, there's no integrity. There's no what's the word? Like accountability for these idiots. Like it doesn't matter. They're protected under the wall of being on the right side of the agenda. So they could just say basically anything they want, contradict themselves, undermine basically their entire existence as writers. Nothing matters. I mean, so then why even hire you? I mean, then we could just, I don't know, we could ask people on Twitter to write the story together. We don't need you. Nothing matters. Get out of here. Ugh, what a douche. What a fucking douche. Yeah, it's the toxic fans, by the way, guys. It's not them. It's you. It's your fault. This is why. If you would just shut up and enjoy it, everything would be okay. And that seems to be what Lucasfilm, Marvel Comics, and Disney have embraced. None of the stories matter because they see them as fake. They obviously thought Return of the Jedi was fake since they brought Palpatine back in a clone body in The Rise of Skywalker, despite him clearly being killed in Return of the Jedi. Great point, Trent. Not only that, but they continue to tell stories like the one in Darth Vader number 11 that attempt to explain the rise of Skywalker. And the more they attempt to explain, the more it's clear they really have no clue what they're doing. Star Wars is dead. Disney killed it. And now they're just desecrating the corpse. 100%. 100%. It is dead. I resent holding the concept of holding out hope. Don't do it. Move on, man. Move on. Watch the ones you enjoy, and that's it. Hope, to me, holding on hope is going to keep the shit Star Wars around. If we're in our heads or maybe the Obi-Wan show will be good, it might be. It's just elongating their reign of terror. Because if they are still allowed, if some of the decisions that they're working are keeping fans interested, then it justifies and validates their jobs and their existence. And I just think we need to clean slate, we're done. We are done with this. If by chance they happen to accidentally make something good and compelling, okay, we can go back there after the fact. But if we are anticipating this and we're driving up Disney Plus's numbers and we're helping justify their existence, we're part of the problem too. Because we've been lied to, we've been mistreated, they continue to double down on this crap, and then we're stuck around. We're as much to blame as anyone else. Okay? So if you believe that this is crap, which, I mean, you're here. I think you do. And that it's a corruption of the thing that you love. Don't support it, man. Don't support it at all. Don't hold out hope. Move on. Move on to the other thing because it justifies their existence and it keeps them around. And if you think Kathleen Kennedy is going to fucking give up her position without a fight, you have not been paying attention. Sentient Dildo says, silly Matt, people from Twitter do write these stories. That's actually a great point. That's a great point. I heard something that people will tweet, they'll shoot political tweets out there as kind of resume builders. Look, I trashed Trump 16 times this year. Look how much I am on the right side of things. That's how they pick people based on those qualifications. Sentient Dildo says, smash your lightsabers, people. I mean, look, the original trilogy stands. It's still great. And I still love it. I will continue to love it and rewatch it and enjoy it. But I'm not. Me holding out hope is hypocritical. I know it's bad. And even if it's passably good, I'm still elongating their reign, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. In other Star Wars news, pivoting nice and tidily, I guess there's a rumor that Gina Carano might be returning to the Mandalorian. I heard them discussing it on the Inquisition last night. And before we even get into it, I think that's a terrible idea. I think that's like her silence, like her, not silence, but I think they're kind of buying her if that's the case. Like if she exists outside of Disney and becomes a lightning rod for new content, different content, contrary content, she's way more powerful. If they bring her back into the fold, I think they're buying her silence. They're buying her compliance, and what she represents pales, I think. And I bet if I was, this is just pure intuition, but I bet that the contract they would have her sign would probably limit her creative outlets and opportunities outside of purely working for Disney and the Mandalorian. Basically, what I mean is that it would destroy her future with Shapiro or whatever it is that she's trying to do outside of the Mandalorian. I don't think she should go anywhere near that show. I mean, like I said, like it would have to come with so many Disney heads, like so many Lucasfilm executives heads, you know, like they're all out, and it's now the Gina Carano show. She's the creative lead. Kathleen Kennedy is never allowed to work in the entertainment industry again. Pablo Hidalgo gets deported. There would have to be so many conditions with which this would actually work. I don't think she should go anywhere near it. Lord Thaw says that rumor about Gina is bullshit. If you ask me, could be. Yeah, I mean, I hope it is. I can't imagine. Like the only reason I would see them like wanting her back would be just to own her, to buy her silence. Really, it's the only thing I could think of. I don't know why she would ever do it. I don't think she should. Senja Dillo says won't happen. Sort of Poopus says I hope for her sake she doesn't. Fenrir, hello Fenrir. At this point, Star Wars and the MCU are rotting corpses with bones showing as Disney's Mickey and Donald beat it up for more money while Goofy records it with a camera. I don't know. I don't agree with that, my friend. I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm not buying the money thing. Because if they were doing it for money, we would get shallow, exploitative, like bad, pale versions of the things we love, but they would still be designed to be consumed. These are not designed to be consumed. They're designed to educate, to re-educate, to tell you how to think, to give you the right ideas. So as much as I think you're right as far as it's being exploited and desecrated, as Trent put it, I don't think it's for money. I wish it was for money. Then they might actually make something decent. I think it's for social re-engineering. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. Vigilante agrees with me on Gina. Thank you, Vigilante. That's why we get along so well. We have very similar ideas about the world. Check us out on Wednesdays. Culture Crime Fighters. That's on my channel this week at 5 Central. That's right. I got it. And we're getting some guests. Yes, we are. We are getting some exciting guests. I don't want to announce them yet, just in case they cancel and you guys have built your hopes up. But we are in talks with some really interesting and exciting people. Some that you know, some that you don't. And I hope you'll join us to watch those awesome show. I love doing that show with Vigilante. It's so much fun. Brightest Day says only with a change in Disney leadership would I condone her going back. I just think, like I said, that this is just to own her. If it is real, it would just be for power. I wouldn't do it. APM says I'm a bit sick of these BS Star Wars rumors for views, naming no names. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the only reason I'm even talking about this one is just because I have a passionate opinion as far as Gina's concerned. But yeah, I mean, it's a little much with all the rumors and the things that are just, you're kind of like, all right, this is never going to happen. Would you stop? Would you stop? I wouldn't put it above Disney, though. I mean, it's never going to happen, but to own her, you know what I mean? Like giving her some golden handcuffs. I could see that. But that's really it. All right, let's read this article. I won't spend too much time on it. A brand new rumor claims that Disney is in talks to bring Gina Carano back as Cara Dune to The Mandalorian. The rumor comes from YouTuber Overlord DVD and his Hollywood agents. We've talked about this, I think, with Doomcock, that he maybe, I think Vigilante suggested it. I think it was Vigilante. Maybe it was Draco. That he gets fed misinformation in order to try, like, in an effort to flush a leak, which I could understand. You know, it's like, what was that movie where they, in The Departed, where Jack Nicholson's character was giving bad information and wanting to see like what would come up on the other end in the cops, and DiCaprio didn't say anything about it. He's like, oh, it wasn't him. You know, he's like giving bad information to flush a leak. And I wonder if that's what Doomcock gets, and they're getting him bad information to try to get like to expose his source, because they hate that shit. They hate when this stuff gets out there when they didn't control the narrative. So Overlord DVD states, my Hollywood agents have been telling me for weeks now that Disney is in talks with Gina Carano about the possibility of returning to the role of Cara Dune in The Mandalorian and several other shows in the Favreauverse. Favreauverse is not my favorite term. The YouTuber adds, it's not the Favreauverse, like, whatever. The YouTuber adds, I resisted saying anything about this, largely because I had my doubts that anything would come of this. Disney certainly must have offended Gina with the alleged reason for her dismissal, namely so-called insensitivity to Jewish people, which, given the context of her tweet, was just an unfounded objection. Unfounded objection. That's putting it pretty lightly, DVD. It's a flat-out lie. Disney and Lucasfilm fired Carano through a 2-sentence press statement. It read, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Disney added, nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. They're such pieces of shit. They are such scumbags. Scum. This is why we should not support this company in any way whatsoever. The social media post in question was an Instagram story. We know all this. As for Carano being offended by Disney, she made it clear that when she joined Ben Shapiro on his show in February. Okay, this is all just a recap of the story, Trent. I know all about this. Doesn't she kind of look like one of those Disney princesses? Which one? Is it Belle? She kind of looks like Belle. A little bigger than Belle. She kind of looks like her. All right. What about the rumors? I just want to get to the rumors. No, this is just kind of a recapping of the story. All right, so nothing's really come up with this. There's not really anything to this, just that she might come back. All right. I like it, Trent, but this isn't a great article. All right. I mean, I don't really want to spend that much time on rumor anyway. Rumors are boring. You know what I mean? They're lame. It's like I said, I don't think she should do it. I'm completely ill-advised. If there's any truth to that whatsoever, I don't think there is. Central Dildo says, all the rumors I hear about Matt and Vidge, still you don't see me making videos about it. That's hilarious. I'd love to see a channel from you, buddy. You're a funny guy. You're a funny guy. Fenrir the Ice Wolf says, why does everything have to be part of a freaking verse? Why can't we just have a thing without the laziest writing trope? Yeah, I agree. Why does it have to be the Favreauverse? What even is that? He is one show. Favreauverse? Don't you think it's a little much? The Snyderverse? Durr. Yeah, I'm tired of it too, man. Enough with the verses. Ugh. Ascension Dildo. Lord Thoth said he'd wrench for you. Very in-demand wrench. So that offer's not going to be on the table forever. I would take it if I were you. Jump right on that. The dildo verse. That's funny. The dildo verse. That's really good. Just Another Red Shirt says, I can think of just one person that is desperate for Gina to return to Lucasfilm in the role of Cara Dune. Jon Favreau. I would love to know the inner workings of what goes on there on that show. because I've watched that show and it's really inconsistent because certain episodes are really good and certain are terrible. And it's like, what is going on in this production situation on this production? Like, why? How could it be so inconsistent? Also, I would like to believe, but I've seen no evidence that Favreau is writing a story. You see what I mean? Like the whole thing with Baby Yoda, very interesting development, but there was no story. It's not like he introduced something with a intention or a goal of it actually going anywhere or paying off. It's like, well, we'll figure it out as we go. It's like, that's not really writing, dude. That's not really writing. That's just kind of like, you're not really supposed, like, you can go on the journey as you're writing it, but you have to kind of know where it's going to end up. And, you know, I mean, you, like, at least write it all out and then go back and flesh out the detail. Like, you can't just be like, I don't know, we'll figure it out during production. It's like, ugh. And that's kind of what it seems like he did. I don't get the impression he knew what he was doing with this story at all. So as much as we want to give him credit, I'm like, I don't know, man. But then again, it might be that his hands are tied because of how involved Kathleen Kennedy is and all these other things. So I don't know. The show's not good though, so I'm not going to say that it is. And Cara Dune coming back. I mean, you know, it's just such a mess, man. It's just like the WB DC universe where it's like, oh, this is going on. Then there's this alternate universe, and then there's the Joker that doesn't exist, and it's just such a wreck. It's so many things. It's like, ugh, all right. I get bored with even thinking about it. Hey, Eric K is here. What's up, Eric K? Good to see you, brother. Hello. Hail, Eric K. Hail, Eric K. Lovely to see you, sir. Lovely to see you. What was the other thing? I had another story I wanted to get to. Oh, God. This is kind of interesting, I thought. It's a little different, slightly different tone from the Star Wars stuff. But I mean, I can only take so much talk about that shit. It's just, it's exhausting. This is, so I saw this on Deadline just a little while ago. Ricky Gervais to launch paid for podcast series Absolutely Mental with neuroscientist Sam Harris. Sam Harris is a controversial figure. Sam Harris is probably, I'm sure, I don't know, I haven't seen the actual evidence of it, but I'm sure he's been accused of being all the alt-right, you know, Yahtzee, white supremacist stuff, you know, because he doesn't agree with the narratives. And I'm fairly certain Sam Harris was the guy who was on, was it Bill Maher with Ben Affleck when he was talking about the like the Middle East, and Ben Affleck just pouted because he wasn't just being agreed with, as I recall. So I think this is a pretty badass move, to be completely honest. Because like Ricky is just becoming more and more based as the years go on. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. He just won't conform to the narrative. I don't agree with everything he thinks and says, but I love that he doesn't give a shit about what Hollywood thinks, and that he's just sort of gilded. He's above it somehow because he's really big, but he doesn't put up with any of their shit, but he still gets to make things and stick around. It's pretty cool. I don't know, man. Ricky Gervais fucking based Ricky Gervais. Exclusive. What are dreams for? What noise does a monster make? When does a baby start thinking? Why do you think we fear death? That last one I think is fairly easy to figure out. I don't think we need an investigation as to why you think we fear death, because it's going to hurt a lot, and then we don't know what's on the other side of it. And there's a clear line between life and death, and it's absolutely terrifying as to the nature of reality. I'm fairly certain that's not one of those things where we're like, why do we fear death? Why do we fear the endless unknown and the pain of dying? I never really thought about that. I never had a conclusion. Never really crossed my mind. These are some of the questions that Ricky Gervais, the creator of The Office, asked his friend, neuroscience and philosopher neuroscientist and philosopher Sam Harris on his new podcast. Wow, they haven't, you know what? No smear campaign yet. No smear campaign yet. Gervais is launching Absolutely Mental, a paid-for podcast series on May 10th, my father's birthday. The comedian was one of the pioneers of the podcast format. Gervais, Stephen Merchant. Oh, really? Oh, Gervais, Stephen Merchant, the co-creator of The Office, and Carl Pinkleton launched the Ricky Gervais Show based on their XFM radio show as a podcast in 2005, and in 2007, it was named the world's most downloaded podcast. It was later turned into a TV series for HBO. I think I watched that. I don't think I loved it. That was the one where they just like took Pilkington and just kind of made fun of him. It wasn't my favorite thing Ricky's ever done, but I like Ricky. I'm not a huge fan of uncomfortable humor. That doesn't really I don't really enjoy that. I don't understand why the Brits find that so goddamn funny. I don't understand what's so funny about being incredibly uncomfortable. I don't find it funny. I'm like, I hate it. Hate it. That feeling does not elicit joy. It elicits the opposite of joy. And I don't know why that's funny. I mean, I guess it's funny that it's happening to me, but that's not funny to me. And so when I watch a show where all the jokes are that this is socially uncomfortable, I feel socially uncomfortable, and then I don't want to watch it. I don't know why that's funny. I truly don't. Sentient Dildo says he loves uncomfortable stuff. Really? What's the appeal of that? I hate it. Is that a European sentiment? Because I don't think we like it here in the States. I don't think we really get it. I don't, and I don't feel like those shows ever do well. That's why I feel like the American adaptation of The Office is a lot more, lot sunnier. There's a lot like there's a release valve, a kind of just sort of like releases the pressure, which I think is just a much more enjoyable experience. You know, when the awkwardness just hangs in the air like that, it's like, oh God, that is my I don't get it. I don't find that funny at all. But, you know, he's super huge, very successful. Yeah, Brightest Day says, I definitely don't get most UK programming. APM, are you here? Can you weigh in on this? I would love to know. You're also in entertainment. Can you just kind of explain to me why uncomfortable humor works and why it's so popular in the UK? I don't get it. Hello, Buckaroo Bizao. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Well, hello there. Hello there. Sentient Dildo says, dark comedy is more Euro. Uncomfortable stuff is fairly new. It's not that new. I mean, the British Office is like 20 years old, 25 years old. When it was, oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking internet. Just Another Red Shirt says, if you fall in an open manhole, that's comedy. If I fall in an open manhole, that's tragedy. Yeah, I mean, that's funny. I understand things that are funny. I mean, like pratfalls are funny. I've been rewatching Scrubs. A lot of pratfalls. Generally pretty funny. People falling down is hilarious. I think it's funny. Buckaroo Bizao says, we love cringe. Why do you love cringe? Why? I don't understand it. I hate it. Because then I become authentically uncomfortable watching it. It's something I really get no value out of. I'm just like, ugh. Oh, God. Drives me nuts. Not my thing at all. Godzillionaire asked about Monty Python. I don't think Monty Python's uncomfortable humor at all. Monty Python is so wacky and farcical and silly that it's uncomfortable. It's just nutty. It's bananas. Let me see here. Back to the article. Absolute Mental will feature 11 episodes, all available at launch. Oh, that's interesting. And will cost $14.99. That's kind of a lot. The episodes available from absolutelymental.com will be between 30 and 40 minutes long, and listeners will be able to air them on their podcast players. The show will see Gervais phone his favorite smart friends, Harris his favorite smart friend, Harris, to ask some very important questions and some not so important ones. Oh, cheeky. Oh, they're gonna get up to something, get into a little mischief. Throughout the series, Gervais and Harris contemplate the wonders of science and the chaos of modern life. While having many good laughs, some topics include dreams, free will, death, the robot apocalypse, bears, and the perils of celebrity and the future of comedy. Harris is the host of the popular Making Sense podcast and the creator of the Waking Up meditation app. He holds a degree in philosophy from Stanford University and a PhD in neuroscience from UCLA. Last year, Ricky Gervais struck an overall deal with Netflix, where he's currently making a third season of the comedy Afterlife. Gervais told Deadline these aren't academic lectures. They're casual chats about how it feels to be human. Evolution, the mind, body problems, spirituality, morality, mortality, the pursuit of happiness, and free speech. And by free, I mean $14.99. Always funny, that Ricky Gervais. Always funny. See, that show Afterlife is an interesting example, right? So that show, boy, oh boy, does it make me cringe at times. I hate those parts. Hate it so much. The anxiety I get with the cringe part, I'm just like, oh, I just want it to end. I feel like I'm being squeezed. And I want it to be over. But the on the nose, like the actual jokes that are just jokes are great on that show. I love it. Like when he's in the park and he's got his dog off a leash, and this guy's like, "Hey, your dog should be your dog should be on a leash." And he goes, "Oh, okay, thanks." And he goes to the dog, "What? No, he isn't a pig-nosed, fat-faced cocksucker. No, don't say that. I'm so sorry about that. Like that to me is a joke. That's funny." But just like watching that weird guy from the office, from the office that he works in, the newspaper, do terrible stand-up, that's not funny to me. That's horrifying. I don't know, like that's so uncomfortable. I don't know. But then like, I don't know. It depends. It depends. Because I guess watching like a comedian bomb can be funny. But that wasn't fun. I just don't like those socially awkward situations. It drives me crazy. It twists me up. Buckaroo Bizo says Ricky is a national treasure. He sure is, dude. He's awesome. I love Ricky. I love that he just goes right after Hollywood, doesn't give a fuck, teases them, mocks all the bullshit conformity culture. Senja Dillis says, I liked Afterlife too. I liked Afterlife as well. I thought it was good. I thought it did three things. I thought it did really great comedy like that. It did the cringe thing, which is not my thing. Excuse me. And the and kind of really poignant conversations about life and reflections about existence and mortality and suicide and a lot of shit. It was really good. It was really funny. What did he like? His dad he's suffering from dementia and he's in an old folks home. And he goes over to his, like, it says like, he's leaving. He goes to visit him and he's leaving his dad. And he goes, I love you, Dad. And he goes, gay. Funny. That's so juvenile. That's very funny. It's a very good joke. Buckaroo Bizo says Ricky can be hit and miss with lots of people. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the uncomfortable, like I like more when he's speaking. Like I just like him as like a talker. I like him when he's on radio shows. When he does even his stand-up, I appreciate that. The cringe jokes, they drive me crazy. I just can't watch them. I think it's just my American sensibilities though, really. We just don't find that funny for whatever reason. I don't know why. Brightest Day says Ricky Gervais earned his respect with his Oscars bit. Yeah, he earned a lot of people's respect with that shit. He earned a lot of people's respect because no prisoners were taken. He went right after it, and everyone was uncomfortable, and we at home were having a blast. I think he was on Jim and Sam, and what he was saying is that when he does those shows, typically the host of that show is doing the performance for the people in the room, all the celebrities are like, but at home, you're sitting home like, ugh, God, these people are so smug and self-satisfied. This isn't interesting. What he started doing when he did the Golden Globes was he was doing the time for us. So he was making fun of the people in the room for our benefit. And it was huge. It was soaring. It was really funny. Speaking of which, I have an article I can link to the Golden Globes right after this one. I don't know. We'll see if it's interesting or not. But yeah, I admire that about Ricky. Like he didn't care about pissing off every cool celebrity in Hollywood. It's like, dude, that's so punk rock, man. That's badass. That's badass. Oh, New Bomb Turk. I imagine this is about cringe humor, where he says it's like watching a video of a car wreck. You know what's coming, yet you can't look away. I can, and I do look away. I don't get it. Like, I know one of my favorites, Jim Norton, is a big fan of that type of humor. Like, he loves the British Office, and he loves a show called The Comeback, which is on HBO, or was on HBO, and it's about like an actress like coming back. Like, she used to be some 80s sitcom star, and now she's making her big comeback on this reality TV show, and it's so cringy and uncomfortable. And having lived in Hollywood and seen people that are just like that, it's like, it makes me, it's too real. I don't know. It's just not, I don't find it funny. I find it horrifying. I don't like it. I don't like it. Buckaroo Bizo says the invention of lying is great, by the way. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's pretty funny. Louis C.K.'s in that. That's funny. Ricky's funny. Stuff Ricky does is funny. Sanjay says, I guess it's a cultural thing. I think it is. It is a cultural thing. It is a cultural thing. I don't know why, but it is. But it is. Buckaroo Bizo, Extras was great TV. Yeah, Extras worked for me a little bit because a lot of the uncomfortable jokes came out of the fact that it was celebrities like being uncomfortable or goofy. They were kind of taking the piss out of themselves. And I thought that worked a little better. Like Daniel Radcliffe on that set trying to get laid, but really having no idea how to do it. Like, even though he's like this star, he's still like a goofy teenager who just doesn't get it. Or like Ian McKellen being like an idiot. That was so funny that he was just this dumb, like kind of gifted actor where he was like, how, he told him how, explaining how he's not really a wizard, but he was just pretending to be one. And he was like, yeah. And he's like, well, how did I know what to say? They told me. How did I know where to stand? They told me that too. It's like, yeah, I know how, I understand the concept of television and filmmaking. Just so great. That was really funny. Or like Kate Winslet just like wanting to win an Oscar, like just kind of being superficial about it. Like, it's very funny. But that because, okay, I enjoy that because I guess I'm in on the joke, because they're celebrities. So it's like, I know that it's not like, there's nothing real about this. It's just a, it's a big farce, and that's funny. I don't know. With the uncomfortable stuff, it's just like, ooh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Here he is. Here he is, 8 p.m. Can weigh in. He says, sorry, I had to step away for a minute, so I'm behind now. Sorry. I didn't mean to keep you from work. I can't stand uncomfortable humor, but it's definitely a European thing, and he's British. He is British. From England. And he's in entertainment. So 8 p.m. says, our humor has always been more edgy and rude on commercial TV, so people have a high tolerance for cringe. Huh. That's interesting. So maybe it's just what you grew up with and there's a contrast to it or something. I don't know. I mean, maybe because we have such a culture of cool here in the States, like all our stars are always so slick and cool, and that's what sells, and that's what's marketable and entertaining, is being like suave. And if you kind of see the opposite of that, it makes us uncomfortable because it kind of contradicts our ideals. I don't know why we don't like it here, but we don't. I don't. And I don't know anyone who does. You kind of just feel like whenever you talk about it, people are just like they don't find it funny. They don't get the joke. They just cringe. And as do I. That's why I don't understand it. Does it have something to do with England specifically, though? I heard someone say that like the worst fate an Englishman can suffer is to be uncomfortable socially or something like that. And so maybe it's just a comment on society, that side, society in general, that we just don't understand. I really don't get it. I really don't fucking get it. Anyway, I did want to look at the comment section on this Ricky Gervais article, because I want to see if people are going after Sam Harris for being an alt-right Yahtzee. I don't want to. Like, there's no comments? Really? Should I just leave the first one? Just like hate on him? Oh, this guy, he's got all the wrong ideas. Blah, 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 blah. I guess there's literally no comments on this. All right. That's weird. Came out like 4 hours ago. Huh. Anyway. All right. So the next article, I feel like today's a news show. Okay, hold on 1 second. What are you doing, Luke? Stop it. Lucas. It's fucking with the cords. Fucking with the cords on the stop. Stop it. It's gonna get electrocuted. Stop it. You mush. You big mush. Oh, wow. Interesting take. Just Another Red Shirt says, I thought that the Ricky Gervais show was the most overtly elitist thing I'd ever seen on TV. Wow, you are really going for it. Luke will not stop. Cut it out. Goober, I want you to die. That's interesting, Red Shirt. What do you mean? Overtly elitist. Huh. Please elaborate on that. That is very curious. Very interesting. So speaking of Ricky Gervais and the Golden Globes, this is an article I found today on Twitter of all places, hellhole. And I don't quite know what it means. And I think I do, but I really want to get into it. Something about the Golden Globes and Hollywood insiders weighing in on the very nature of the show, blah, 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 blah. So we'll see. I think it'll probably be some woke garbage because it was on Twitter. It's on LA Times, so it's probably terrible. Golden Globes organization vowed to change. Then came turmoil. Went wrong. Dun, 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 dun. By Stacey Perman. Came out yesterday. D-Day, as some in the entertainment industry were calling it, was looming. It was just 2 weeks before May 6th, the date when the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, the group that puts on the Golden Globes, had promised to unveil a slate of reforms aimed at transformational change. The pledge had come after a Times investigation highlighted allegations of financial and ethical lapses by the group and pointed out that not one of its 86 members is black, spurring outrage in Hollywood. I am horrified at this reality. None of the 86 members are black. Well, that's automatically racism, no matter what. The numbers don't lie. It has to be this. It has to be. People are obsessed. They're obsessed with race. They are obsessed with it. I think there's probably like true like Yahtzees and white supremacists who are like, all right, enough with the race. We get it. You know, like they even like the most vile people in terms of race are over it. Not Hollywood. Not the liberal media. Boy, they love it. Boy, they are obsessed. They can't get enough. It is their favorite fucking thing to talk about. It's amazing how the whole concept used to be to like not see the race, to kind of just see the person. And that was the evolution, was that we're not judging each other on race. Now they are obsessed with judging people on race. Obsessed with it. It's their favorite thing to do. They can't help themselves. It's all they talk about. Fucking boring. How fucking boring. Ugh. Hold I want to go to the chat real quick. I don't want to mess up the flow, but APM says comedians have always been allowed to be risque after 9 p.m. in the UK and even earlier in Europe. We allow our talk shows to be on the edge too. It's funny watching US equivalents. They're so sanitized. Maybe that's the joke then. Maybe because you're not as restricted. Well, it's called watershed. That's it, right? And so maybe it's like, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with that. Maybe it has some. I can't contextualize why uncomfortable humor is funny. I still don't get it. But going back to the comment Redshirt said about Ricky Gervais's show, Gervais put Carl in situations where his provincialism would make him uncomfortable. Gervais seemed to be saying U.S. cosmopolitan people are perfectly comfortable in a situation like this. That was not the impression I got. The impression I got is that this guy in particular is such a boob that putting him in these uncomfortable situations is hilarious to him, like to Ricky, that he's just going to say wacky things and kind of interpret everything in a very strange way. I think that's the idea. I didn't find it that interesting. Like, I really didn't, but I didn't find it to be overtly elitist either. I think it was just because Carl is such a nut. So I think that was kind of the idea. I'm not really sure. Buckaroo buys out. Good point. Only racists focus on race. Yeah, I agree. Like we were talking about check out Vigilante just put out a great video. It was a clip from the Culture Crime Fighters the other day on LeVar Burton. And we were talking about that. And it's like their obsession, like I was saying, like, oh, as if there's all these like racists in the film industry. And he's like, I think there are. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, right. Not the way they mean it, but there are all these people that are racist. They're just obsessed with it. Sentient Dildo says, I never understood the U.S. problem with nudity. We grew up with it as something normal here. I don't entirely know, but I've heard it postulated, and it would make sense that we were set up as a Puritan nation, that was a big part of our foundation, and that kind of stayed over. And there was just kind of this taboo about it. I don't know what the big deal is myself. I don't think it's very healthy to make it such a taboo, but we do. We always have. I don't know. I never understood why we did that. And it seems like no matter who's in power, too, they want to get rid of it, right? If it's the conservatives, they want to get rid of it because it's indecent, and it's bad for the fabric of America and blah blah blah. And if it's like the progressives, like, well, it's exploitative of women, and it's the male gaze and the white male patriarchy. It doesn't matter. It's like whomever is in power, just they want to no sex is bad, and you're bad for liking sex. Really unhealthy. Fenner says it's ironic that those who are always screaming about race and are fighting against race and are the most racist of them all. Yeah, I think that's the truth. Yeah. All right, back to the article. On this horrifying revelation about the racist nature of Hollywood. On that, I would love to know what the percentage of journalists, because it's the Associated Foreign Press, that they would pull from are black. I would love to know how many there are that are black. And would the BBC head of diversity think they were black enough? That's also matters. It's not good enough just to have the skin color. You also need to have all the cultural tropes, according to the head of diversity at the BBC. This is the world we live in, folks. Fucking clown world. On that April Tuesday, a handful of consultants for the Embattled Association, at least this is well written, it doesn't make it any less obnoxious, but she is articulate, met with a group of activists and publicists who've been vocal in their criticism. Well, this is good. Yay, change and progress. Yay, obsession with race. This is what we need for the future. The publicists represented a contingent of more than 100 powerful firms who declared that their clients would boycott the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, refusing to participate in screenings, interviews, or award shows until it gets blacker. until the organization reformed. Yeah. The activists included representatives from The Color of Change and Time's Up, including director Ava DuVernay and showrunner Shonda Rhimes. Well, gee willikers, we know that their perspectives are dialed in, man. Ava DuVernay's never said anything dumb or racist or hypocritical or controversial, although I did meet her one time and she was quite lovely. Her public persona sucks. The Hollywood Foreign Press was represented on the Zoom call by Sean Harper, a diversity strategist. That is a job. That is a job someone holds that they get paid for. A diversity strategist. Oh my God, the world has gone completely insane. Diversity, that guy probably makes six figures. He probably gets very well paid for his ridiculous position in the world. Diversity strategist. It's insane. It's utterly insane. And the attorneys from Ropes and Gray, an outside law firm, both recently hired to help manage the crisis. Would you listen to these people? Manage the crisis. That in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, there's not enough black people. That is a crisis, guys. An absolute crisis. How out of whack are their priorities? Like that's a crisis. There's like people have like lost their businesses, like lost their well-being, their livelihood, like the world over. There's still a pandemic as far as I understand it. People are dying in like droves in India. But the real crisis that they're going after, that the LA Times, mind you, this isn't even an entertainment outlet. The crisis they're going after is there's not enough black people in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Like, do you understand how out of touch you are with reality when these are your priorities? Oh, so that they'll have enough people to weigh in on our phony fucking award shows. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. You self-congratulatory narcissistic jizz buckets. You are not important. You're not the center of the world. It doesn't matter. This is like going to like a house party and be like, well, Betty didn't say enough nice things about me. It's like, well, we have to make sure that Betty says, like, shut up. Who cares? Oh, God. The conversation was intended as a precursor to reveal this Thursday. It did not go well. Ooh, spill the tea, girl. Spill the tea. Ugh. This is a story in the LA Times. A whole city of like 10 million people. This is the Los Angeles Times, the newspaper, and this is the crisis they're covering. I'm so happy I don't live there anymore. I am so happy I don't live there anymore. Man of War, neighbor of the beast. Hello. Good to see you, sir. First super chatter ever. Well, at least they weren't thought partners. Yeah, I know. It's a little wild. Thought partners. Oh, Buckaroo Baizal says 1.4 billion people in India, 0.02% death rate. Don't listen to MSN. I mean, I don't. I don't know what to believe. I mean, I generally don't take any of that kind of seriously. But thanks for clearing that up. I don't know. That's just what I heard. Oof, the wake down. At this point, I don't see how we'll get out of this without a war. I kind of feel like that's what they want. And I don't want that. I don't want a war. I think we just need to keep mocking them. I think as long as we mock them, we don't take them seriously, their influence will wane. Other people will get that they're full of shit. I don't know. I hope. That's the first thing. I don't want a war. Fenrir says Ava DuVernay has said more racist stuff than I can think of. Thank God she's not doing New Gods. Yeah, that was a good win. That was a good win. I talked about that with Vigilante one day, and it was so weird because I had met her at a party that I was working, and I didn't know who she was. I just started talking. I had a feeling she was somebody, but I started talking to her, and she eventually told me that she directed a movie called Selma, and I was like, oh, there was some controversy with that movie, eh? And she goes, really? What? And I was like, oh, that it got nominated for Best Picture, and you didn't get nominated as director. And she's like, yeah, I don't care about that. I was like, really? She's like, nah, I don't care. As long as I get to work, that's all I give a shit about. Like, it sounded like she didn't actually give a shit about any of the woke mob stuff, any of like the controversy. Oh, it's racist. Like, it's like, oh, okay. So that like makes sense, that's interesting. But then publicly, she's just so like all obsessed with this shit. Like that's like her whole thing. So it's so weird to see that contrast. Because if I like had just never heard her speak again, I'd be like, oh, that chick's based, like she doesn't give a fuck. She's just like here, she's happy to have a job. But oh my god, it just got so political in the chat. I don't want to get that political. I want to make fun of these people. I'll just make fun of them. Young Ripa is the one for that type of shit. The publicists and advocates expected a preview of substantive, god damn it, reforms. As one plan, the Hollywood Foreign Press emissaries were ill-prepared and uninformed. I bet that means they didn't say enough stuff. I bet that means ill-prepared, uninformed. You have the wrong ideas. Let's see. Several said they heard obscure talk about politics and bylaws, and they took issue with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association's previously announced proposal to add 13 black members. They took issue with it. What do you want? Do you want an overthrow of all institutions and then you're in control of? Is that what you want? Like, what is good enough for you? What would be acceptable? Like, what are you don't have any principles. It's just like, we just want to be in control of everything and tell everyone what to do. It's like, okay, so you want to be a dictator. Just say it. Just admit it. Come clean. God damn it. A suggestion that several in the group criticized, even calling it a racist quota during the call. What else could you possibly interpret this as? You're saying there's not enough black people. Need a quota. That is your idea. That is your concept. Funny. Before the 90-minute meeting concluded, Harper abruptly left. Ooh, in a huff. Later that day, he tendered his resignation. He quit. You bitch. What a pussy. You're getting pushed around by these woke tools. You know what, though? You're probably better off. Not working with these people. Awful. Brightest day. It's a good point. Hard to separate politics and entertainment when the two have been merged to become political entertainment. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to get into like a war and foreign policy and all this shit. I mean, you're not wrong, but you're not wrong. Sentient Dildo says they want more power. Yeah, they do. And they don't. They're not even, they're barely hiding it anymore. Sentient Dildo says, what do you mean, these people? Yeah, I know. Horrible pejorative there. So this guy quit because he couldn't handle the heat, which he probably should, because they're just gonna make you bend and conform anyway. You might as well just make it someone else's problem. The strategic advisory and crisis communications firm led by high-powered crisis consultant. I hate that phrase. That whole sentence was disgusting. Crisis communicate. First of all, this is not in any way, shape, or form a crisis whatsoever. It's a manufactured issue you're trying to get upset about, you fucking tool. Crisis consultant Judy Smith. I bet she's a delight. I bet she is a wonderful person. Inspiration for the character of Olivia Pope in the ABC series Scandal. I've never seen an episode of that, so I don't care. Who had been working with the Hollywood Foreign Press but had not attended the meeting, quit as well. What did you quit for? To comment, Smith did not respond to request a comment. The next day, Time's Up chief is Time's Up like an organization? I thought it was like a hashtag. Is that a real thing? Like Time's Up is a real thing? So it is just political power. It's not like you don't want justice. You want power. Why would you need what is this? Like, what is Time's Up? So it's a group. So it's an organization. It's a nonprofit. They're changing the world. Join them. I think I'm good. We insist upon a world where everyone is safe and respected at work. I bet you do. A world where women have an equal shot at success and security. I'm sure that's exactly what you cultivate. A world where no one lives in fear of sexual harassment or assault. By helping change the culture, companies, and laws, Time's Up now aims to create a society free of gender-based discrimination. You want to rewrite all of society into your worldview. Why don't you fucking focus on one thing? Why don't you just focus on the entertainment industry or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, get one thing. I don't think I'm sure you're wrong about all this stuff, but I mean, at least focus on the whole society. We got to change everything. Do we? Do we really? I don't think it's as bad as you say it is. We want every person across race, ethnicity, religion, sexuality, gender identity, and income level to be safe on the job and have equal opportunity for economic success and security. I don't believe you. Okay, so they're a nonprofit. But I mean, people use nonprofits as power and influence. It doesn't mean, it's benevolent. It just means it technically doesn't take profit. That's all that means. But obviously they're like, so Time's Up is a gender, I guess it's everything. It's just an inequality corrector. So that's why they're here. Does this really sound like what their description of their charity is? It sounds like basically, to me, that sounds like if someone's getting exploited on a set or in the workplace or whatever, they're going to be there to kind of like pay their legal fees and help advocate for all that and stuff like that. But her weighing in on this fucking thing, that's not what that is. You're just making sure there's enough black representation. That's not what your description sounds like. Ugh. The deadline of May 6th that the Hollywood Foreign Press has set aside for itself is fast approaching. Everybody watch out. It's fast approaching. It's fast approaching. We need, oh, golly gosh. But all we have seen so far are public statements and actions that reflect a continued lack of understanding the deep-rooted problem with the Hollywood Foreign Press and the systemic change that needs to happen. The clock is ticking. Would you listen to these people with their little buzzwords and fucking calls to action? Like, oh my God. You're not even defining what would be a satisfying outcome, at least not publicly. So what are we supposed to do? Just take your word for it? Once you're satisfied, then it's good enough? The vagaries are as frightening as the desire for power. Oh, and I also love how non-biased this article is. The unproductive meeting showed just how I don't know what that word is, but how she calls it unproductive. Like, that is an opinion. The level of productivity, that's an opinion. You really shouldn't be inserting that if you're a journalist, but we all know they're not journalists. We all know that. All right, what is this word? I've never heard of it. Sclerotic. Becoming rigid and unresponsive, losing the ability to adapt. Was that necessary? Was it really necessary to use that? Sclerotic? I've never heard that word ever. In this article, unnecessary. You also probably use a thesaurus to find that one, you phony fuck. Just how sclerotic and ineffectual the Hollywood Foreign Press has been in responding to mounting pressure from outside groups to reform. They said they were going to hire 13 black people. What are you talking about? It's not like they haven't been responding. They did exactly what you asked. That just wasn't good enough for you. What are you talking about? They did what you asked them to do. How are they not responding? It's a coup. This is a takeover as you're going for. The organization's efforts to change thus far have sputtered amid a series of missteps and miscalculations. I do not agree with that assessment on what you've provided me here. We wholeheartedly believe as an association that's transformational and progressive change is not only necessary, but long overdue, and we are committed to that goal. And a spokesperson said, the representative added that the organization planned to move forward, saying it was honored, everybody, to have Harper Smith assist us in our plan for foundational change. And we thank them again for their efforts in getting us closer to that goal. Thank you so much for trying to overthrow our organization. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. We are actively considering new consultants to assist us with reform. Are you now? Many Hollywood institutions are closely watching the reform efforts. The Golden Globes, a high visibility lead into the Academy Awards, are a powerful marketing tool for studios and networks. But with the Hollywood Foreign Press' own deadline drawing near and the association standing badly tarnished. Oh, the shame, the horror. Many in the industry are wondering whether the 78-year-old organization will survive. I bet they aren't. I bet you're just throwing that out there. I don't think that's what anyone is thinking. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, my goodness. That 70s rock fan says, I would not wipe my ass with the filthy rag that is the LA Times. That's hilarious. Yeah, I agree. It's pretty trash, eh? Pretty trash. Representatives of NBC, which airs the Globes, and Dick Clark Productions, which produces the show, are waiting to see what is announced Thursday and may consider contingency plans if the Hollywood Foreign Press doesn't take serious steps to reform. People close to the company said, what else do you want them to do? See, this is the thing. Like, they don't define what they want them to do. They said they were going to do it, and then they're like, not good enough. It's like, well, what would be good enough? Well, you're not responding to our allegations. Like, what are you talking about? Yes, they are. They're doing exactly what you asked them to do. And that wasn't good enough. It's like, what? So what? Where they just hand you the reins of their organization that they've had for 80 years because you're woker than them? My goodness. Among the more drastic options that could be considered, putting the Globes on hiatus, keeping the show but jettisoning the Hollywood Foreign Press, or scrapping the awards altogether. This is all about destruction. None of it is about progress or helping people. It really is just a wrecking ball to everything that came before it. And when nothing's left, it won't matter because it will have destroyed it all. Do not take these people seriously. Do not give in to them. They're monsters, man. They're destroyers. Ropes and Gray, the only group brought in to help manage the crisis that remains, is expected to present its findings to the Hollywood Foreign Press members today. That will leave 3 days for the association to consider a recommendation that insiders expect to call for sweeping changes. Why has the Hollywood Foreign Press struggled in its efforts to reform? The drumbeat of they didn't. They were going to do it. Stop lying. The drumbeat of external criticism has exacerbated tensions inside. What does that mean? What does exacerbated mean? It means to make things worse. Tensions inside the notoriously fractious group, according to interviews with insiders. One camp of Hollywood Foreign Press members is defiant, viewing themselves as victims. Yeah, I think arguably so. You're attacking their entire organization, essentially forcing them to fold because it's not black enough, even though they said they were going to hire 13 black people by your demands, and that wasn't good enough either. Yeah, they are victims. You're attacking them. Jesus. Other members acknowledge the need for reforms, but say they've been kept in the dark by organization leaders whose priorities they question. Definitely not a power overthrow. Definitely not a power overthrow. Some in the group have spent valuable time in recent weeks trying to break through the publicist blockade. And it is sitting on 2 sets of recommendations from consultants hired around 2018 and 2019 that highlighted the need to address many of the problems the Hollywood Foreign Press now faces. The wheels... How long is this fucking article? Jesus Christ. Are you serious? Look how long this article is. Holy shit. Did you see this? Look at this. This goes on and on and on and on. Oh my God. All right, we are done with this conversation. Look how long this is. This should be a paragraph. What is this? That was a tome about how the Golden Globes isn't black enough and how they tried to accommodate, and that wasn't good enough. Oh my God, man. Fuck that. Fuck that. I am done with that topic. Holy shit. Did you see that? Wow. That was... These people are fucking insane, man. They're fucking insane. I'm so happy I don't live there anymore. Like, having all that town in my rearview mirror feels great. Feels great. They're nuts. And like, if you had reasonable questions about the nature of that, like, people would not, they wouldn't be like, oh, that's an interesting idea. They'd all be horrified that I'm racist. Ugh, God, what a terrible, ugh. Fenner says, oh my God, who the hell cares? Yeah, it's a good point. Honest to God, it's a great point. Who the fuck cares? Doesn't matter. And not like I ever watched the Golden Globes anyway, but it's just all this power overthrows, all these coups to control culture and control Hollywood. It's so gross. Buckaroo Biza says Hollywood eats its own, a massive circle of jerks. Yes, Snorted Poopus calls it verbal diarrhea. Agreed. Raltar, hello, Raltar. I think we all lost 10 IQ just by looking at that. Yeah, I mean, I like to believe that the insight of how, like, what's the word? Like, almost, it's funny how much they're almost imperialist, right? Like, they're almost like they attack people for being colonizers and but that's almost what they're doing. Like, not almost, that's what they're doing. They want to control everything. They want to have their fingers in everything. They want to just change the world in their image. They want to run all the institutions. They do not want to coexist. They do not want you to have your own voice, your own opinion. That's all antithetical to the cathedral, and you're not allowed to think that way. Not at all. So it is ironic that they attack people for being colonists, yet they want to control everything, and they do want an empire. They do want to control it. Oh, God, awful, awful. That 70s show. Nothing would be finer than watching Hollywood collapsing due to the big one in your rear view mirror as you drive away to safety. Well, I still have friends there. I don't want Hollywood to go up in a ball of flame or anything like that. That's hilarious. Laurel Canyon lives matter. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Yeah, it really is just the most elite, out of touch, narcissistic groups of dorks who just, this is like the most important thing. Like, you see how out of touch they are, how much it's like, this doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter on the slightest level. And it's a crisis. Oh, it's a crisis. Is it a crisis? A crisis. What happens if this crisis isn't addressed? Nothing. Nothing will change. Who gives a shit? It's crisis. Get your head out of your ass. Get your head out of your ass. Nice, Buckaroo Bizo. Let's just dust off and nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Fucking hey. One of the best movies ever made. And speaking of great movies, I introduced this segment last week, and I plan to do it every single week because as much as we bitch and moan about the horrifying state of Hollywood and content and these dopes trying to rewrite the world in their shitty image, they did used to make good things in Hollywood. They did used to make good movies, and I am a big fan of a lot of them. And I wanted to share some with you guys that are maybe less as well known. Because there are so many different movies out there. A lot of them get lost in the cracks. I mean, we were talking about Dusk Till Dawn, the shirt I'm wearing, the other day. And it was released in a year where there was so many massive movies, so many hits. It was very easy to lose track of it. I think that was kind of why it's not as popular as it is. So it happens all the time throughout history. Good movies just get overlooked because there's so many that, come out in the same time. And so this week's movie, I want to share with you is a movie I love. It's a classic. I watch it all the time. It's a classic to me, but I watch it regularly because I just think it's a beautiful, funny, fun, dark, kind of twisted film. It's a movie called Risk Cutters, A Love Story. Risk Cutters, A Love Story. It's basically about this guy, Patrick Fugit, the actor here, who's Z, I think his name is. I think the character's name. Basically, he breaks up with his girlfriend. This is how the movie starts. And he kills himself in like sorrow. He tries to get over her, but he never can. So the first opening of the film was him just cleaning his apartment and then cutting his wrists and killing himself, right? So what happens is he doesn't go to hell, but he basically goes to this sort of parallel reality, this kind of limbo, but it's like Earth, but everything's a little crummier. Like the pizza's cold, the beer is warm, all the chairs are kind of wobbly, no one can smile, and everyone who lives there are people who took their own lives. And it's kind of like this sort of sardonic punishment for having taken your own life. And so Buckaroo Banzai says Tom Waits is an underrated actor. He's very good in this one. And the idea, so this guy, I think his name's Zia, something like that. He meets this dude, Shea Wingham. He plays this Russian guy, this Russian musician he's hilarious. He's so good in this role. I adore him in this role. And he's actually modeled after the character from Gogol Bordello, the kind of that lead singer of that gypsy punk band. And he's kind of modeled after him. And he killed himself on stage. This guy, he's playing guitar and he pours Stone, I think Dead Man Stout, on his guitar and electrocutes himself. And then he dies. And it's actually kind of funny because I don't want to spoil it. It's just a good joke. It's not going to help me sell it. But basically they become friends, even though he's kind of creepy and sort of like, really lascivious with women. Even in like the afterlife, he's like kind of creeps women out, which is funny. But they become friends. And Zia one day learns that his girlfriend that he killed himself over, that she also killed herself, I guess, shortly after he did. And so he goes on this quest to find her. And it's like this whole kind of like he goes on this road trip with him and Shay. I forgot the character's name, but they go on this road trip through this afterlife to go find her and try to, reconnect with his long lost love. And it is excellent. Like, it's very approachable. It's very, as dark as the concept sounds, it has a lot of heart. It's really a genuinely very sweet movie. Like, it's not exploitative. Like, there aren't these like kind of clumsy jokes. There's jokes that are, suicide related, but it isn't. It's got a really elegant, excellent voice. The production design is terrific. It really feels like you are somewhere else. They put this kind of filter, this sort of filter over everything that gives it this sort of weird, wonky look. Like it's just kind of otherworldly. Everything's just kind of crappy and like just tweaked, just a little off. And the people in it are so weird and so interesting. And I don't want to give away too much because it is so much of the enjoyment of watching this movie is the journey of it. Is kind of like going on the road with these people and seeing this weird, twisted world that they live in and meeting all these characters, people who killed themselves. So it's really great. Ace Mr. Freeze. Hey, buddy. What's going on? You say, recommend reading the story too, along with the movie. What story is that? Is this based on a short story? Oh, here we go. Movie is based on Edgar Carrett's short story, Neller's Happy Campers, and it's a really good read. Huh. No shit. I didn't know that. I will read that. That's great. I will read that. Thank you very much, Ace Mr. Freeze. I'm going to write that down right now. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's a book. Huh. I did not know it was an adaptation. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's really sweet. And like I almost get nostalgic for visiting it, if you can believe that. Like there's something so I don't you just it's transportative. Like you go there and you spend the time with these characters and it's just to it. It's I love it. Red shirt says thanks, I'll pass. All good, red shirt. You're missing out on a great movie. Missing out on a great movie, but that's you. Man of War 665 Neighbor of the Beast says I refuse to do homework. Fair enough. Fair. This isn't homework. This is just a recommendation of a movie that I adore that a lot of people don't know about. I was recommended to me on Netflix, like randomly. I just opened up my Netflix and it was there. And I was like, this was years ago, back when Netflix was interesting. And I was like, okay, try this movie. And it's become one of my favorites. It's basically a tradition for me now. I watch it, like every few years. One of those movies I just keep a good eye on. I really like Patrick Fugit as the lead. I think he does a great job as this kind of like naive and like ultimately sweet guy who's just kind of like in this situation. Shea Wingham is terrific. He is terrific, like unbelievable, steals every scene he's in as this like Russian guitarist, musician guy. He's such a creep, but he's so goddamn funny. I love him. Love him. I actually met him once. I bartended his birthday party a few years back, and I told him as much that I love this film. And he was just like, "Oh wow, I can't believe you know that!" Like, and he's like, "It's such people think it's dark, and it's such a sweet movie." I'm like, "I know. It's got such a good heart." And I was so in his performance. He's great. It's such a good movie, and the cast is terrific, and it has this really develops as a story from just like a writing point of view, like as you take the journey with them. It really is a great journey, a great ride to go on. Rio Proj says it sounds like homework. It's not homework. This is for your own pleasure. I'm just trying to help you try to broaden your horizons and just open your eyes to movies that are good that maybe have been overlooked. Because look, we just detailed how shitty Star Wars is and how much they ruin absolutely everything they put out that's out there. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have any optimism for the future. I don't have any optimism for content that's coming out. In fact, like I kind of don't want to look at any of it until I hear an overwhelming amount of praise. I'm not into their shit. I don't want to watch their shit. So, but I do want to watch something. I do want to enjoy some of it, right? Is it on Amazon Prime, that 70s Rock fan? Nice. Oh, cool. It's on US Amazon Prime. Perfect. Great movie. But I want to watch something. I want to enjoy some content. And I want to share content with you that is really good that maybe you haven't seen. You know what I mean? Like that's so that you have like a wealth of different titles and new stuff that, it's like, yeah, you can go back and watch Star Wars again. You can go back and watch, Dread, or you can go back, watch shit. It's all perfect. That's great. Nothing wrong with any of that. But, there's other stuff out there too. And maybe you haven't heard of these things. So I want to recommend them to you each week. I think that's a fun little thing that I can offer as someone who's just a, obsessive movie dork and has just watched, so many different movies over the years. And just, I've collected what I think is a pretty interesting library of titles. If I'm roboting right now, I apologize. I'm seeing a connection stable. It's driving me crazy. The Wi-Fi situation that I live in, it's like a bunch of we're all on the same network, right? We're all on the fucking network. Apparently, like some people have like a router or whatever that you're not supposed to have, and it keeps like triangulating the signal like over and over. So my connection is always getting fucked up because of it. God damn it, I hate it. It's such a pain in the ass. There's nothing I can do about it right now. Ascension Dildo says, honestly, that's much better than constantly whining about Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to be a whining, complaining guy all the time. I mean, I do feel the need to talk about this stuff, but honestly, like I want to praise things too. I love a lot of this stuff. That's why I care so much. That's why I bitch about it, because I remember when it was good and I want it to continue to be good. And so in that case, I'm going to try to recommend good stuff for you guys. Yeah, Rio Pride says, lol, just kidding. Gladly watch it. I think you're going to like it. I really like it. New Bomb Turk. So you don't have your own wire connection in my apartment? No, I don't. Because of COVID or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what the situation is. Everyone's on the same network. I'm trying like hell to improve it, but it's driving me fucking up a wall, and there's nothing I can do. Well, that's my movie recommendation of the week. I'm going to try to do this every week. Last week, it was Layer Cake. This week, it's Wrist Cutters, A Love Story. I love both those movies. I've watched them both many times. I never get tired of it. They're really, really fun. And yeah, I think you guys will get a kick out of that. Get a kick out of both those movies. All right, that's going to do it for MFer Mondays. I thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. This is fun. I always find it to be very challenging to just turn on the camera and just talk by myself. Usually have like a little inner freak out, like, talk about something, keep it going. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. This is really fun. It's a good challenge, and I think it works. I think it works. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Just another red shirt. Hail, Sencha Dildo, Fenrir, New Bomb Turk, Manowar 665, Neighbor of the Beast, that 70s rock fan, Buckaroo Baizao, Rio Praj. Anyone else that I missed? Ace Mr. Freeze, The Wake Down. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. You can see me next on Wednesday. I might be doing another stream tomorrow. I might be doing an Altered Carbon stream tomorrow night. I'm not sure. But if not, either way, you can see me Wednesday at 5 Central on this channel. Me and Vid are doing Culture Crime Fighters. Like I said, we're going to start having some guests on that show. So keep an eye out for that. Some people that I think you're going to really like us talking to. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you on the next one. Toodaloo.